You are welcome back. In the last video, I was talking about various technologies that we use to build a website. I said we need HTML, which is the beginning, hypertext markup language. Then we need CSS, cascading style sheet for beautification, layout, and presentation. Then we need JavaScript as a front-end programming language to build the front-end part, and also to power the back-end. Because depending on the programming language you want to choose. But we are going to focus on JavaScript here. Then I talk about database, MySQL, and so on. Talk about web server, text editor. And I was about closing the video when I stop at other tools that you will need for web design and development. I talk about image editor, file transfer protocol like FileZilla. That's an example. Then you need browsers. Then you need cloud storage. Now how do you deploy a basic website? Let me quickly talk about it, because the focus of this third video is to show the career, what you can become in this skill. Now, to deploy a site, that is after you are through with building your website, to make it available all over the world, you need a shared hosting account. So you go to this website of HostGator, just Google them, Bluehost, Namecheap, GoDaddy. You buy a hosting account with them, where the account is where you push your website to make it available for the whole world. Then after you have done that, you need to learn how to use their control panel, cPanel. Because it is in the control panel you will create subdomain, email, and file transfer protocol setup. Then you upload your project through FTP. Then you are going to buy a domain name. I hope you remember this domain name. What is another word for domain name? That will be URL or web address. So you are going to register a domain name and link it to your hosting account. And that is all. So practically we'll be doing this towards the end of this training, or even along the way, so that you learn about hosting right away. Now, what will you become in this training? Will you limit yourself to web designer or web developer? You can become either of the two. You can call yourself a web designer, because as a web designer, you build simple but professional website. A web developer creates an advanced web application, like somebody building portal for school, the result processing portal, somebody building admission portal, a school management system, hostel management system, hospital management system, and all these web applications. That is the work of a developer. But a web designer works with a developer because they focus on the user interface. So in a company, they can divide the role. Now, okay, let some people focus on the user interface, the UI, what people see. Let other people build the back end, the programming part, the API. API is application programming interface. The interface that your UI will connect with to make the UI functional and alive. Now, people that are web designer, they focus on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and also front-end framework like React, like Vue or Angular, and nothing more. But if you want to be a developer, you are going to learn a programming language, any of these. You are going to work with servers, and you'll be working with databases. These three are very important: server, database, programming language. At the end of the day, we all be good. Either you want to stop at being a designer, or you want to go ahead and be a developer. But there are other ways you can be designated in this skill. Now that will take us to a front-end developer. I liken front-end developer to a web designer. So when I say front-end developer, it's more or less the same thing as a web designer. So they design, like I said before, they design the user interface, what people see, the layout, the look of the site. They usually call them UI UX expert. UI means user interface, UX means user experience. They make the site interactive, beautiful, attractive. So they use HTML, like I said before. They use CSS. They use JavaScript and some front-end framework like Bootstrap, Tailwind, Boomer, Material Design, and so on. They make use of these CSS frameworks. And they also make use of JavaScript framework. What is a framework? When you say legal framework, like a lawyer goes to court and he wants to argue a case, but he has to cite some framework. He has to stand on some legal framework. That is existing protocol. So when you are dealing with framework, you make your life easy. So you don't need to be writing CSS from scratch. You make use of this Bootstrap, Tailwind, CSS, Boomer, Material Design to write CSS. So that is why using framework is very, very important in web development and web design and development. Very important. Then look at it again. Front-end developer make use of JavaScript framework. There are frameworks for writing JavaScript like React, Vue.js, and Angular. In this training, we'll be focusing on Tailwind CSS and React. We also do a little bit of Bootstrap. So don't worry about all these jargons. They are not too difficult. And you're in good hands because I'm going to explain. I'm a trainer and I'm going to train you. And you'll be happy for it. So when you learn how to design a website interface, you are a front-end developer. That is all you know at this, then you are good. You'll be able to build a very good user interface, especially if you are working in a company whereby they separated front-end development from back-end development. So let's look at back-end developer. They are the coders. They do the coding part. They make the site functional, interactive, and dynamic. You'll be wondering, are we not coding in front-end? Well, you will code too. You will code because you are going to be writing JavaScript. But when you go deeper into coding as a back-end developer, you build API, you build server. So that is what we are talking about. And there are two major things to focus on in the programming language. I told you, just pick one. All you need to do is to learn one properly. Then you're also going to use database like Oracle, MySQL, and so on. And you also need back-end framework. Don't forget this word framework. It's something that has already been done to make your life easy. So if you're a PHP framework developer, you will need Laravel, UPHP, or Cake PHP. If you're a Python person, you will need Django, Flask, or Pyramid. You pick any of the three. You can build server with Django. You can build data science application with a Flask or Pyramid. If you are a JavaScript person, definitely you'll be working with Node.js and Express. If you're a Java person, don't forget there's a difference between Java and JavaScript. If you're a Java developer, you will deal with Spring and Kotlin. So, but in this training, we are JavaScript developers. Now, that is what we call full stack developer. And this is the sweet part. A full stack developer combines both front end and back end. And I believe you want to be somebody like that. Because these are software engineers that develop the front end, what people see, and the back end, the server logic. So they bridge the gap between the user experience and the server logic. Now, they can use some technology combination like main stack. Maybe you hear something like main stack, min stack, lamp stack. They are all frameworks that we used to build all that. I talk about Express, React, and Node. When you are using these technologies, you are a main stack developer. If you are using MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node.js, this M is not necessarily MongoDB. It can be MySQL. So this is the database. Express is the server. React is the front end. Node.js is the back end. So that is what they mean by that. Now, let's talk again about this CMS. There is no way we will not work with CMS because there are some clients that will come to you, build a website for me. I need it in the next 2 days. That is why you have to learn CMS. Nobody build a website within 2 days by going through all these main stack, all these technologies I've been talking about. So I use CSS a lot for people like that. Maybe just a site I want to showcase what you sell or what you do in your business. Maybe you are a plumber or you're a tailor, you want me to build site for you, or you're into selling something. I can still use CMS to handle that. But somebody comes to you for a school portal, admission management, hospital management system, it will be very hard for you to use CMS. But CMS is great for maintenance and client work, and it's fast. It can be limited unless you know how to use PHP. So if you can join PHP with your area of knowledge, good for you. Then the last one I'm going to talk about is mobile app development. It is the future of web development because everything is going mobile. I want to congratulate you because in this class, you are going to be a JavaScript developer. And all you need for mobile app development is JavaScript. Well, somebody may argue with me there, what of Dart? Dart? What of Flutter? What of Java? What of Swift? What of C#? Well, they can do equal work, they can do the same thing, but in my own case, I use JavaScript to build mobile application. Because I talk about React. If you remember, React is for web application, but there is another one called React Native, is for mobile application. So if you are very good in JavaScript and you have learned React for web, definitely React Native will be a walkover for you. So both of them, they are based on JavaScript. They are JavaScript framework. Let me go back. I talk about it here. They are JavaScript framework, React and React Native. React is for web. React Native is for mobile application. So I'm going to drop the curtain here. I believe you like this class. You can refer to my website at bsgptech.com to learn more about what I do and the kind of training I do. bsgptech.com, that's my official website. And we're in this journey of becoming web developer. If you cooperate and you follow along, you will enjoy this class. Thank you for listening.